John, how have the last 7 days been for you?
It's really only been the last 3 or 4 because it was Monday morning when it all came apparent that Dean and Richard were moving on. And as I've been at football clubs before where that's happened, and what happens, and other people swing into action and we deal with it. We let the situation go. Dean and Richard spoke to the players, which was fantastic. And then they need to get out on the pitch, and that's exactly what we did. We got out on the training pitch, and the good news for us was that we had a game to prepare for. It wasn't going to be like a long week and saying what's going to happen this day, that day, that day. We've had a game, we've proved the point, I think, that we can manage, and both on and off the pitch, and that's what we've got to continue to do. So the focus now comes to the FA Cup tie rather than what's happening within the football club.
Did Dean give you any advice before he left?
No, he rang me late on Sunday night and said he was going, so I said thanks very much, we'll get on with it. But he's worked very closely with the other 2 lads, obviously, and we came in on Monday morning. We're all professional people, right? This is what we're going to do. We saw Richard and Dean. They spoke to the players, said their cheerios, and I think we all were very, very pleased then to get out on the training pitch and get some work done in preparation, recovery from the weekend, preparation for the next game. And like I said, the good news was that we had a game to prepare for, and all the interest, if you like, and all the focus went onto that very quickly.
The performance and the win against Shrewsbury in midweek was outstanding, and matters carried on as normal. Is that what you want for the club at the moment?
Yeah, we talked about it. The 3 of us chatted about it and said, what do we need to change? And the answer was nothing. Pretty quickly, pretty swiftly, that answer came through from all of us. Let's get on with it then, and that's exactly what we did. I think we made 1 change on the bench. The rest of it was same team. Can we produce it again? And fair play to the team, and that's always the shout. You know, the players handled it all very well. I think they were pleased to get boots on and competitive match as well, and it was competitive, by the way, so the result was a very big one for us in a lot of different ways.
John Whitney spoke after the game about the players self-managing.
Yeah.
How exactly do you get the squad to do that, to complete that?
Responsibility. I think that's been stressed upon them. I've come into that, so it's been stressed upon them prior to me arriving at the club. Manager and coaches, everybody involved in that, about dealing with things that they've got to look at. When you get to a game, you know, we prepare them and we send them out. Then, so they come 3 o'clock on Saturday, I'll be sat 50 yards away from some people, probably even further. So get information on, and when the game's moving at pace and speed, you just can't do it. So their self-management on and off the pitch is very important, and I think that's been stressed into this team long before I came onto the scene. So they're able to cope.
FA Cup at the weekend, Chesterfield, who are also without a manager at the moment following the exit of Dean Saunders. You're expecting a tough game?
Yeah, we always do. It's a tough game on Tuesday. I don't think there's any other reason. We certainly can't go in there being flippant and say everything will be all right. We've got to work hard for that, as we did on Tuesday night, and the players are aware of that, as we are as a staff. The one thing that you can impress upon them is the reward by winning that tie, by getting through into the round 3, and you know, we'll all dream of Manchester United, Liverpool, etc., etc. So that's the key at the moment, you know, going into the game. We'll see what happens afterwards, but we need to try and win the tie, and to do that we've got to try and apply the same work rate, ethics and ability and composure that we did on Tuesday in another tough game. So we're expecting exactly the same, and we've got to try and impress that on the team, that's what's required from them.
How important is the FA Cup to Walsall, John?
Well, if we win on Saturday and we draw Manchester United away, like I've said, which we all want to do if we get in round 3, then it'll be extremely important. I think the club saw the importance of getting to Wembley last year and the value of all of that, not just in probably financial returns, but in team returns and supporter returns as well, and showing that everything was together. So it becomes very important because it's the next game, and like I say, the rewards from that can be pretty big. So we've got to impress that on the team, but I'm sure that'll be impressed on them anyway.
And finally, I've got to ask, are you interested in the job full time?
I'm just interested in helping the guys support everything here at the moment. I'm probably a little bit too old to start going into management again, but to support and coach is something that interests me. I've got no comments really other than that, just to try and help everybody out through this period and see what happens.